Run out. Their patience finally ran out. Rule out. I've already ruled out a few options, but it's hard to choose. Go around. He went around asking everyone what their favorite color was. Come off. Despite the rain, the event came off great. Layout. The architect laid out the blueprints for the new building. Set out. The plan was clearly set out on the proposal. Get through. After calling multiple times in a row, I finally got through to the right department. Rule out. I've already ruled out a few options, but it's hard to choose. Go around. He went around asking everyone what their favorite color was. Bring down. Please stop talking about that. It's bringing the mood down. Take up. After retiring, she took up painting as a hobby. Hang out. We used to hang out at that coffee shop. Layout. The architect set out. The plan was clearly set out on the proposal. Wind up. Oh, ignore him. He's just trying to wind you up. Bring down. Please stop talking about that. It's bringing the mood down. Wind up. Oh, ignore him.
I hear you're getting married. Congratulations.
Go out. Instead of waiting for change, sometimes you have to go out and make the changes happen yourself. Take up. Take up. After retiring, she took up painting as a hobby. Go out. Instead of waiting, run out. Their patience finally ran out. Rule out. I've already ruled out a few options, but it's hard to choose. Hang out. We used to hang out at that coffee shop after school. Set out. The plan was clearly set out in the proposal. Come off. Despite the rain, the event came off great. Go around. He went around asking everyone what their favorite color was. Wind up. Oh, ignore him. He's just trying to wind you up. Layout. The architect laid out the blueprints for the new building. Bring down. Please stop talking. Take up. After retiring,
(9) Death in the evening. We saw the quiet crowd of people outside Wilson's garage from some distance away. "Oh, looks like an accident," Tom said. "Wilson will have some repair work at last." Tom slowed down. When he saw the looks on the people's faces, he stopped the car. Inside the garage, someone was crying, "Oh my God, oh my God," over and over again. "Well, there's some bad trouble here," Tom said excitedly. We got out of the car, and Tom pushed through the crowd into the garage. Myrtle Wilson's body, wrapped in a blanket, lay on a table by the wall. Her mouth was open, and a little blood was coming from it. Tom stood there, looking down at her. "Oh, my God," repeated Wilson, his hands over his face. Tom looked round the garage slowly. He went up to a policeman who was writing in a notebook. "What happened?" Tom asked him. "Car hit her," the policeman said. "She ran out into the road and was killed at once. The car didn't stop." "The car was coming from New York," said someone in the crowd. "It was a big yellow car, going about 60. Wilson looked up and shouted out, "You don't have to tell me what color it was. I know it was a yellow cow, all right." "Listen," Tom said, going over to Wilson. "I've just got here. That yellow car I was driving this afternoon wasn't mine. Do you hear?" Wilson took no notice. "Let's get out," Tom said to me, and we pushed our way back through the crowd. Tom drove on slowly at first, then faster. When I looked at him, I saw that he was crying. "That Gatsby, the goddamned coward!" Tom cried. "He killed Myrtle. He killed her, and he didn't stop his car." Later, I heard what had happened. Wilson had at last found out that Myrtle had a lover. She refused to tell Wilson the man's name, so Wilson had locked her in her bedroom for several hours. Just before 7, someone had heard Myrtle cry out, "Beat me! Hit me, you dirty little coward!" Then Myrtle had rushed out into the evening darkness. She had been shouting and waving her arms. Had she wanted the yellow car to stop? Myrtle Wilson was killed instantly, and her blood ran onto the dusty road. Tom stopped his car outside his house and looked up at a lighted window. "Daisy's home," he said. Then he looked at me and said, "I'm sorry, Nick. I should have taken you to West Egg. I'll phone for a taxi to take you home. Come in and have some supper. No, thanks, I said. I'll wait outside. Jordan put a hand on my arm. Do come in. It's only 9:30, she said. I shook my head. I was feeling tired and sick. I had had enough of the Buchanans for one day. Jordan looked at me for a moment. Then she followed Tom quickly into the house. That was the last time I saw her. I walked slowly down the drive to wait for the taxi by the gate. Gatsby stepped out onto the path in front of me. His pink suit shone in the moonlight. "What are you doing here?" I asked in surprise. "Just standing here, old sport. Was she killed?" Gatsby asked slowly. "Yes." "I thought so. That's what I told Daisy." "I got back to West Egg and put the car in the garage," Gatsby went on. "I don't think anyone saw us." I stared at Gatsby, feeling that I hated him. "How the hell did it happen?" I asked angrily. "Well, I tried to turn the wheel," Gatsby began. I suddenly guessed the truth. Was Daisy driving? "Yes," said Gatsby after a moment. "But of course I'll say I was. Daisy was very upset when we left New York. I thought driving would calm her down. That woman rushed into the road just as a car was coming the other way. I think she wanted us to stop. Daisy turned towards the other car and then turned back. She was very frightened. I put my hand on the wheel, but the woman was already under the car. Daisy wouldn't stop," Gatsby explained. "Then she felt faint and I drove home. I'm waiting."
Faint. Faint.
Here now in case Tom makes any trouble. "Tom's not thinking about Daisy," I said. Then I thought for a moment. What would Tom do if he found out that Daisy had been driving? Would he believe that Myrtle's death had been an accident? "You wait here," I said to Gatsby. "I'll go back to the house and see what's going on." The light was on in the kitchen. Daisy and Tom were sitting opposite each other at the kitchen table. Tom was talking and holding Daisy's hand. Daisy looked up at Tom and nodded her head. They looked.
Nodded. Nodded.
Looked as though they belonged to each other. They looked as though they were planning something. I went back to Gatsby, who was standing where I had left him. I could hear the sound of my taxi. "It's all quiet," I said. "You'd better come home with me." Gatsby shook his head. "I'll wait here till they go to bed. Daisy may need me. Good night, old sport." Gatsby put his hands in the pockets of his pink suit. I left him standing there, in the moonlight. The End of a Dream. I slept badly that night. I had terrible, frightening dreams. Just before dawn, I heard a taxi driving up to Gatsby's house. I dressed and went over there at once.
Fright.
The front door was open. Gatsby was sitting in the hall, still wearing his pink suit. "Nothing happened," said Gatsby sadly. "At 4 o'clock she came to the window for a moment, then she turned out the light." We looked round the house for a cigarette. There was dust everywhere. We sat smoking in the darkness. "You ought to go away," I told Gatsby. "The police are sure to find out the yellow car is yours." "Go away? Of course I can't, old sport. I must find out what Daisy wants to do." Gatsby began to tell me about Daisy. He told me how he had first been excited by her beauty and by her money. Gatsby had been a young man without money, and he had no hope of getting any. One October night, he and Daisy had become lovers. Then he had fallen in love with Daisy. And Daisy, a girl who had everything she wanted, fell in love with him. Life for Gatsby became more and more unreal. He spent hours telling Daisy about his dreams for the future, and, of course, she listened to him. Then Gatsby had to go to the war. When he came back, Tom and Daisy were on their honeymoon. The house began to fill with the pale light of dawn. Birds began to sing.
Dawn.
In Gatsby's garden. "I don't believe she ever loved him," Gatsby said. "You mustn't take any notice of what she said this afternoon. She was excited and Tom frightened her." Gatsby and I had breakfast together, and then we went into the garden. The air was cooler. Summer was nearly over. The gardener came up to us and said, "I'm going to take the water out of the swimming pool, Mr. Gatsby. The leaves will be falling soon." "Don't do it today," Gatsby said. I haven't used that pool all summer. It was time for me to go to work. But I didn't want to work, and I didn't want to leave Gatsby alone. I'll phone you, I told him. Do, old sport. I suppose Daisy will phone too. I suppose so. We shook hands, and I began to walk away. Then I stopped and shouted back across the lawn. They're no good, Gatsby. You're better than all of them. It was the only compliment I ever paid Gatsby, but I've always been glad I said it. Gatsby gave me a big smile and raised his hand. His pink suit was bright against the white steps. Goodbye, I called. Thank you, Gatsby. Wilson had cried for Myrtle all night. Then he began to talk to his neighbors. 2 months ago, Myrtle had come back from New York with a bruised face.
Bruised. Bruised.
Later, Wilson had found an expensive dog collar in Myrtle's desk.
Collar.
He bought it for her, Wilson said. He bought it for her, and then he killed her. He murdered her. The man in the yellow car. She ran out to speak to him, and he wouldn't stop. Somehow, Wilson found out who owned the yellow car. At 2:30 on the day after Myrtle had been killed, Wilson went to West Egg. He asked the way to Gatsby's house. At 2 o'clock, Gatsby had gone down to his swimming pool with an airbed. He told his servants to call it.
Airbed. Airbed.
If anyone phoned. No one phoned. His dream was over. I couldn't do much work that day. I got back to West Egg by about 4:30. Gatsby wasn't in the house. One of the servants told me he had not come back from the swimming pool. We hurried down to the pool. The airbed was moving slowly round and round. There was a little blood in the water, and Gatsby lay on the airbed, dead. As we carried Gatsby's body up to the house, we saw Wilson lying on the grass. Wilson had shot Gatsby, and had then shot himself.
Inquest.
At the inquest, Myrtle's sisters swore that Myrtle had never known Gatsby. She said, too, that
Swore.
Wilson and his wife had been completely happy. So Wilson was called a man made mad with grief, and the
Grief.
case was closed. About half an hour after we had found Gatsby, I phoned Daisy. Mr. and Mrs. Buchanan went away this afternoon, a servant told me. They will be away for some time. Did they leave an address? I asked. No, the servant replied. Have you any idea where they are? I don't know, sir. I'm very sorry. I felt that I had to tell someone about Gatsby. I thought of Meyer Wolfsheim. I phoned him, but he had already left his office. The following morning I sent a servant to New York with a letter. Wolfsheim sent back a very short answer. Dear Mr. Carraway, this has been a great shock to me. I cannot go to the funeral as I am very busy. I would rather not visit the house. I'll remember him as he was. Yours truly, Meyer Wolfsheim. All that day and the next I had to answer the questions of the police and the reporters. The news of Gatsby's death was in all the papers. But Daisy didn't phone. Then a telegram arrived from Henry Gatz. He had read the news of his son's death in a Chicago newspaper. He was coming to the funeral. The truth was that Jay Gatsby had started life as James Gatz. He was the son of a poor farmer in the Middle West. He had left home when he was 16. For a year, James Gatz had lived near Lake Superior, working as a fisherman. Gatz had become a good-looking young man, popular with women. He had gone to college, but had only stayed there for 2 weeks. James Gatz was already ambitious. He was dreaming of success. One morning, Gatz saw Dan Cody's big white yacht near the shore. Gatz found a boat and sailed over to the yacht to ask for a job. Dan Cody asked a few questions. Gats told Dan Cody that his name was J. Gatsby. Cody saw that the young man with the pleasant smile was quick and ambitious. When the yacht sailed, J. Gatsby went with it. Gatsby stayed with Cody for 5 years, until the old man died. Gatsby didn't get any of the old man's money, but Gatsby had learnt how the rich live. Gatsby now knew what he wanted. Mr. Henry Gatz was already in tears when he arrived for the funeral. He was an old man, and was so upset that he could hardly stand. But when he had looked round the house, he became more cheerful. "Jimmy did well out here in the East," Mr. Gatz said. "This is where he made all his money. He was a good boy, and he had a great future. He could have done something really good for his country. I was proud of my boy, Mr. Carraway. This has been a terrible shock to me." On the day of the funeral, it rained and rained. At 3 o'clock, the minister arrived. Gatsby's father and I waited for the other mourners.
Mourners. Mourners.
After half an hour, the minister began to look at his watch. We waited a little longer, but nobody came. It was raining hard when we reached the cemetery. As we
Cemetery. Cemetery.
walked towards the grave, I heard someone following us. It was the fat man with glasses I had seen in Gatsby's library 3 months before. As we stood by the grave, I saw that Daisy hadn't sent a flower or a message. After the funeral, the fat man said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't get to the house." "That's all right," I said. Nobody came to the house. The fat man stared. "My God," he said, "and hundreds of people used to go there. What friends!" "11. I go back to the West." And that is the end of Gatsby's story. After Gatsby's death, I couldn't live on Long Island any longer. I wanted to go back to the West. I wanted to go back to where we all came from. I wanted to return to the place where I felt happiest. I saw Tom Buchanan once more in New York before I left. When he stopped and held out his hand, I put my hands behind my back. "What's the matter, Nick?" he asked. "Won't you shake hands with me?" "You know what I think of you," I answered. "What did you say to Wilson that afternoon?" Tom stared at me, and I knew I had guessed right. Tom took hold of my arm. "Listen," he said. "I told Wilson the truth. He came into our house with a gun. He would have killed one of us if I hadn't told him who owned the yellow car." "And why shouldn't I have told him?" Tom went on. "That Gatsby made a fool of you and of Daisy, too. But he was tough, and he killed Myrtle like a dog." There was nothing I could say. I knew the truth, but I could never tell it. Tom had done what he wanted to do. Got rid of Gatsby. Tom and Daisy were rich, careless people. They took what they wanted and destroyed what they didn't need. Then they went away, leaving others to clear up the mess. Gatsby's house was empty when I left, and the grass had grown very long. On my last night, I stood in the garden, thinking about Gatsby and his dream. Gatsby had believed in his dream. He had followed it and nearly made it come true. Everybody has a dream. And, like Gatsby, we must all follow our dream wherever it takes us. Some unpleasant people became part of Gatsby's dream, but he cannot be blamed for that. Gatsby was a success in the end. Wasn't he?
It was read by John Garasio and the recording produced by James Richardson at Studio AVP, London.
11.